Earground Radio. New voices amplified.
So, welcome to your ground. My name is Claude Marco, and today we're having our special feature, the first of its kind. We're focusing on a non-Zimbabwean artist, Earground Africa. From time to time, we're going to be having a bit of these interviews. And our first guest happens to be coming from Lilongwe, Malawi. His name is Phyzix. He's a hip-hop artist. And welcome to Earground.
Thank you so much. It feels good to be here. I'm excited to be here on this program. So yeah, man, let's get it on.
Great. You grew up living in Lilongwe. Tell us a bit about your background, your upbringing. How was it like?
Yes, I was born and raised in Lilongwe, born to an administrator and a banker, my mom, 4 siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. A very close family, we loved each other. Unfortunately, my dad passed on at a very younger age. When I was 9 years old, that was in 95. That's when my dad passed on. So for the most part, like most of the rappers, I was raised by my mother as well. So raised by a strong woman, supported by strong sisters. So medium class family. Things got worse when my mom retired. We moved to a ghetto part of Lilongwe, an area called 25. That's a part of my life that life took a dive. I think also the blessing of that tragedy was that's the time I discovered hip hop and my ability to sort of like share my story, share my experiences with people through music. So it was both a blessing and a curse, when we moved to the ghetto of Area 25. So I would say all in all, I grew up in a loving family, and close to my siblings. So yeah, that's my background, but mostly Lilongwe, the capital city.
Great. Growing up in Area 25, to a family that was coming from a technocrat background. Your mother was is an administrator, and you decided to follow hip hop. How easy was it for you to say, I want to do hip hop, but I'm also going to pursue my education?
It was never easy. Actually, I faced a lot of resistance from my family. And I think it's only because my dad had passed on and I only had to fight my mom. But I know if my dad was alive, that wasn't going to happen. I was just going to be pushing pencils and papers in class. But I think, it was never easy because my family believed in me to be a bright young child and they saw all sorts of careers ahead of me. They were throwing, things like you'll be a doctor, you'll be a lawyer, you'll be this, you'll be that, But, I fell for hip hop. And, for everybody who loves hip hop, they know it sucks you in, it takes you in. You want to be a part of the culture, a part of the lifestyle, and, around that time was when just hip hop was getting popular in Africa, So even for parents to see a future in it, they didn't see the future in it. It was just like, things people playing around, you can't make money out of, just wasting your life, just wasting your time. So it was really hard, for me to convince my family that I want to do hip hop, But I think eventually when I sort of like became a household name in Malawi, when I made my first hit single, when I went back to school and I was doing both rapping and doing school, I think that sort of like helped things a little bit, So, but it was a struggle to convince my family.
Right. And talking about conviction, what sort of music initiated you into hip hop? Which artists were you listening to? Were there specific albums and artists that you listened to so much that they got you hooked onto hip hop?
Okay, so for me, music is like 3 phases for me. The first one was I come from a family that appreciated music so much. You know, the time when there were vinyls, you know, even before cassettes, you know,
Yeah.
they were playing vinyls, man. So my dad was playing all sorts of jazz, you know, James Brown, Michael Jackson, Dolly Parton, Jimmy Reeves, Jimmy Cliff. There's like all these legends, all these classic people, some soul music. So I grew up around music, you know, in a family that like want to make music a part of everything, our celebrations, our birthdays, you know. So already I had an appreciation for music. And I was born into a Catholic family. So going to Catholic schools, I sort of like got involved in the choir as well. So I was a choir person. I grew up in the choir. Eventually, I became a choir master, even, you know. So now, as my siblings were growing up, you know, they sort of like brought this different type of music. You know, my brother was playing hip hop. At the time, it was Wu-Tang, Nas, Jay-Z, you know, DMX. I was like, what kind of music is this, you know? But I'm loving the stories. I'm loving the energy, you know, I'm loving the honest expression, you know. So I just got hooked into it. So I'd say Dr. Dre, DMX, Jay-Z, Tupac, the Wu-Tang Clan were some of the first, you know, artists I was listening to, and particularly the Chronic album, All Eyes on Me, as well as It's Dark and Hell is Hot, DMX. Yeah, so it was just like all these guys, man, enter the Wu-Tang. So it was an amazing time. Yeah.
And to date, how much music have you released? How many albums, how many singles and videos do you still have a count?
I think I'll be able to give a count of the bodies of work because recently I was doing a post on my social media platforms about, you know, how long I've been in the game. So bodies of work, you know, official bodies of work. I've put out 12 bodies of work.
Wow.
So that includes your mixtapes, full-length albums, as well as EPs. So this year, I'm dropping my 13th body of work, which is an EP that I'm currently promoting. 2 singles out already. For videos, I've lost count. Videos, I release.
Yeah, I checked your YouTube
video.
and I noticed so many videos.
And that's like the filtered version. You know, there are some that I wasn't too happy about, some that I'm no longer advocating. So I've sort of like filtered, you know. That's why you see some of the views on the lower side because I had to delete and I had to delete and re-upload. So when I was re-uploading, I lost some of my views. But videos I've lost count, singles, collabos, just crazy amounts, man. Yeah.
Right. And you have been nominated several times for different awards, the big music awards in Malawi.
Yes.
That sort of puts a lot of recognition on the work that you've done for hip hop.
Yes.
How much do you feel appreciated by the music industry in Malawi?
I feel appreciated a lot. And I think the only thing that I struggle with when it comes to awards is well, I might be still on top of my game now, competing with the new guys and whatnot, but I'm actually an old head, you know, like I came out like in 2006. So the time when, you know, my music came out, in Malawi, we didn't have awards at the time. We didn't have urban awards, we didn't have hip hop awards, you know, so we've just like maybe the first awards started around 20, if not 2011, 2012, thereabouts, or 2010, you know, or the time when you guys had come in, you know, the competition is stiffer, you know, the soundscape has changed. So for me, exactly. So for me, it's like I missed out on all those years when we didn't have award ceremonies. But now I still get like nominated on every award ceremony. I still get nominated, so it's part of the recognition that I get, and also in the conversations I'm put on legendary status. So, and the shows are still selling out. So I would say we're still getting recognition. I'd still say so.
Great. I was watching a video clip of the Ghetto Festival, and I was quite impressed. With multitudes and how you're moving the crowd, how you're moving the audience. But how is the hip hop scene in Malawi? Is it a big community? Is it a growing scene? would you put it on the same level as maybe in South Africa?
Yeah.
Where exactly is Malawi when it comes to hip hop?
Right now, the Malawi scene is a growing scene. It's an exciting scene. It's a big scene. What we are still building is the industry. You know, the structures. You know, to have your established record labels. You know, to have policies by the government that are, you know, deliberately growing. You know, that industry. So basically, it's like it's still a hustle, but it's a very, very big industry. What we don't have are the structures. But in terms of like the listenership, you know, we're dominating radio, unlike other countries, but we are actually dominating radio. You know, we are actually dominating TV, as well as events. You know, right now, urban music, which is hip hop, R&B, dancehall, you know, reggae. You know, we're dominating the music industry right now. Unlike in just 7 years back, it used to be local music. That was about everything. You know, like right now, we're in elections season in Malawi. You know, I get calls from presidents of parties for me to do songs. You know, for me to be part of a campaign. You know, this was unheard of. You know, this was unheard of. You know, just a few years back. You know, but right now they're trying to get us doing a political rally. Or they want to get us involved. So it shows of the power and the growth that hip hop has right now in Malawi. So yeah.
Wow, quite interesting. But I mean, you as a hip hop head, but you're also in the financial sector. You're a banker, you're a marketer. How do you balance these two? Do they connect somewhere? Because it's quite interesting. I found that very strikingly interesting because I know a lot of hip hop artists that I know are not in the commercial industry.
Definitely.
We are there in marketing, we are there in the banking scene, but still able to hold up the mic and still throw some bars. Tell me about that.
I think this is, first and foremost, let me say, this is the question that always comes up in every interview. Like, I think, I'm guessing it's really strange. But, you know, for me, I look at it in many ways. First and foremost is I'm sort of like pioneering a path whereby, you know, the thing that as people grow, you know, they want to let go of their true passions just to go for survival, you know, just to go for a job so that they can survive. But they really want to do something, you know, they want to dance, they want to sing, they want to rap, they want to play the keys, they want to do keyboards, you know. But because of, you know, nature of the job, people tend to give up on their dreams. So I feel like I'm pioneering a path in a way. And also, in as much as I'm in the financial sector, you know, my role is marketing manager. So I'm in marketing, I'm a professional marketer. So basically, you know, marketers are usually the fun guys, you know, at a company. They're usually the fun guys. They're usually the life of the party, you know. So it works for me in that way, you know, because I'm looked at as a marketer, not as a technical person. Like I'm not an accountant. I'm not like, you know, so it works out in that way. But in terms of the demands, you know, it's a demanding job because it's a senior position, you know. So I really have to be, you know, balancing my time, you know, because Fridays when I knock off, it's either I'm traveling to the northern part of Malawi, to the central part to do shows over the weekend, and I have to be back by Sunday, you know, and I've got family in the mix, you know, and also, for example, like I've said, political parties approach me to sort of like be part of a campaign. Because of the code of conduct, I can't be a part of it, you know. So it works out because I am an activist as well. So I sort of like take a neutral position, you know, advancing, you know, the agenda of the youth, advancing the agenda of women, you know, and other vulnerable groups. And, you know, so it's really crazy, you know, how I get to manage my time because sometimes I have to watch my content, you know, I don't cuss in songs, you know, because I'm sort of like affiliated to an organization. So, but I think at the end of it, it's hectic. Let me not lie. It's hectic to balance the two because they're both demanding. You know, there are times when, you know, I have like an interview during the week when I'm supposed to be at an office, but an interview for my, you know, I have maybe an appearance I'm supposed to make at a youth event or at a women's event or something. So, but all in all, it goes down to discipline, time management, and just loving what I do, because I love being an artist and I also love being a marketer in the financial sector. So I think that's what drives me.
Wow. And talking about your third cap, which is activism, you're an activist on gender and youth issues.
Youth development,
Tell us just a bit about your work in gender and youth activism. What exactly are you doing?
Okay, basically for me, I'm really passionate about youth development because one, I come from the ghetto, where there's so many youth who are very talented, whether it's musically, artistically, or just the potential to be the next scientist, to be the next lawyer, the next doctor. So all I'm trying to do is, to bring the focus from the leadership of the country to say, there's so much untapped potential in Malawi, in the youth. Let us learn to collaborate with the youth. Let us make them active partners in the development agenda of the country. So for me, I've been privy to some studies that have been done in Malawi. Unemployment is a big issue in Malawi. Like a lot of youth are unemployed. Whether they've got the technical skills, whether they've gone to college, or whether they just have the energy to do something. A lot of them don't have things to do. And because of that, a lot of them are tending to abusing drugs, just a lot of immoral behavior, girls going to prostitution, there's just so much. Now, the majority of this demographic are my fans. The majority of this demographic are my fans. These are people who come to my shows, and I look at them as one of them. And right now, I'm rising up the corporate ladder, doing great in music, but I was at one point exactly like them. So I just want to use my life story to sort of like go back and give back and say, you know what, I did it, I made it out, you can do it too, And that's the biggest demographic in Malawi. We're talking about, a greater percentage of Malawian population is the youth. Wow. So imagine if the youth are empowered. Imagine if the youth, they have got knowledge, they've got access to opportunities, whether entrepreneurship, jobs. Imagine what Malawi can be. So that's mainly what I do. So something that I did recently is a campaign called Multipata, which was trying to advocate for the youth issues with the politicians, to sort of like incorporate them in the youth agenda to develop Malawi. Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite interesting. That's quite, I was trying to grasp, the whole ideology, and it's quite mind-blowing just to think of you're looking at your audience not just as fans, not just as consumers, but also as a very important component of demographic when it comes to your work, be it from the business or also the music, and why you have an obligation to actually impart certain knowledge, certain skills on them. In Zimbabwe, one of the biggest struggles is financial literacy. You are working in a financial institution. You're also working with the youth and artists. Are you doing any work that helps bridge that gap? Because we still have struggles with regard to contracts, with regard to even financial management. When an artist makes a hit, makes money, and the next day you find them they are rich, then the next day they are poor.
I mean, it's amazing how things come together. Just before this interview, I'm coming from a meeting at the Central Bank, the Reserve Bank of Malawi, whereby, I've been selected as one of the representatives to sort of like, we're doing a Global Money Week, whereby we're going to schools, we're having the youth visit the banks, visit the stock exchange, visit the pension, insurance, like just sort of like impart knowledge about saving, about how lending works, about buying stocks, buying shares, to the youth of Malawi. So it's a program that the Reserve Bank of Malawi is doing to sort of like impart this knowledge to our children as well as our youth and students. So this is something that, I was selected to be a part of, one, as a professional, two, as a musician as well. So I'd say as a country, we're making those deliberate efforts to sort of like empower our youth with financial literacy, At the same time, me as well as a musician, I'm happy to be a part of that. And that's something that I'm doing pro bono and excited to be a part of, because I know, money is one tough subject. Handling money, managing money, budgeting is something that we don't get to learn. Most of us don't get the
We don't
opportunity to
learn
learn.
this. True.
We don't have that opportunity. So I'm excited to be one of the vessels being used for this noble cause. So yeah.
Right. And can one survive off music alone? Can one just be an artist in Malawi and not do anything else? Is it possible?
Yes, I've seen a number of people who are surviving in that way, like the big bands we've had in Malawi. There's the Black Missionaries band that we have. They're primarily musicians doing shows every weekend. Like, I don't know where these guys get the energy. They're doing shows every weekend, and they're surviving off music. And one of our biggest local musicians, his name is Lucius Banda,
Yes,
surviving music. Lucius Banda, yeah? So now, it's about being savvy with your money, or getting the right people around you to invest, because you can't rely on shows every weekend. Make your money. I've seen these people invest into transport, buying minibuses, taxis. I've seen them, invest in, like a lodge, a bar, everything they're doing to sort of like reinvest. But at the end of it, the money is coming from the music. So it's possible to do that, but it needs you to be very disciplined. It needs you to be able to have that spirit of investment, because, you don't always have the grace of being your shows packed every time, or getting calls from, brand endorsement deals. You don't always get that. So you need to be able to invest in your day times of sunshine. Yeah.
Great. And I mean, talking about sunshine, you have managed to perform before and collaborate with so many artists, like so many prestigious artists. You raised for the swell Kenan, and also our late legend Tuku. Yes. Tell us about that experience. How was it like? How much did it contribute towards your career?
Well, let me start with Tuku, since it's closer to home.
Yes.
This is this is like my mom's best musician ever. Because my mom is originally from Zimbabwe,
really?
Born in Gatuma. You say Gatuma? Born in Kadoma, raised in Harare. So I grew up listening to Oliver Ntukudzi. Like, what? This is like an African Michael Jackson. That's how I grew up looking up to him, like one of the greatest musicians ever. So to finally share the stage with him, it was amazing. For me, I felt like I was in class. I was learning to say, this guy was not raised in Malawi.
Yes.
He's a Zimbabwean, but he's able to connect with the Malawian audience, in his language, not even English, in his language. So I was learning to see what are some of the messages he's talking about in between the songs. What is he saying? How does he present his music with the band? His dressing, even, how he was handling his interviews. For me, it was just like I was in class. I was just soaking it all in. So it helped me improve. One, I rap in English as well, but I mostly rap in Chichewa. But, it made me accept my language more, to say, music is a universal language. It's about the vibe. It's about the energy in the music. It's about the messages once they're translated, maybe in the music videos. So it made me, learn all that just watching Oliver Ntukudzi perform, and, so it was an amazing experience for me. It was an amazing experience.
Wow, that's quite humbling to hear. And I think for me as a Tuku fan, I'm a big fan of Tuku, and I think almost every Zimbabwean appreciates Tuku. Yes. Yeah. It's quite encouraging to hear that. But I mean, talking about back to your music, you are going to be dropping something very soon. What more can you be expecting in the near future? You're dropping an EP. Are we expecting any videos? And can you give us just a bit of detail about that?
Okay. So far, I've released 2 singles of this current project. So I've shot 1 video already. It's going to be dropping the end of this month. And I'm shooting another video this weekend that will be dropping early next month. And these are 2 singles that are out. So my plan is I'm trying to shoot the whole EP. Like I'm trying to pull a Beyonce and like have
Oh,
videos for every song in the EP.
yes.
You know, that's what I'm working on. So right now, me and my directors were discussing concepts. The EP is not out, but the directors have listened to it. So we're busy, you know, working on concepts for videos because I want to do like a full DVD for the whole EP. So yeah, videos are definitely coming in, and I might be doing a collab with one of your top Zimbabwe artists soon.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if
Yes, leave that to mention who that is.
okay, I can mention because
Yes.
we're talking about it.
Okay.
Mudiwa,
Oh,
I'll be
Leo,
doing something.
you know what? When
Yeah,
you were talking about banking and all this, I wanted to drop that. I was like, okay, maybe let me know.
yeah.
But I wanted to say, I mean, are you aware of Muliwa? Do you know Muliwa was also working in a financial institution who is doing a lot of
Actually,
philanthropic work, but at the same time,
yeah,
he's one of the multi-award winning artists in Zimbabwe. This is quite an
yes.
interesting connection, you know.
Actually, we met in the bank
Wow.
because I came to Zim. I did some work at Stewart Bank.
Yes.
Stewart Bank, that's where he was. So I was there, me and my immediate supervisor. So when we went there, that's how we met, you know. So yeah, we stayed in touch and now we're trying to work.
Great. Do you know Pompey from Zambia?
Pompey.
Yes.
Yes, I know Pompey. We haven't
Yes.
met yet, but I know his music. I know his stuff, yeah.
He's also working in the financial institution. I mean, he's a good friend of mine.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes, and it's quite interesting that we have a generation of hip hop heads that are financially,
yeah,
included, that are working in the financial systems, and for a very long time we were very
yeah,
much excluded from these systems. We're just there on
yeah,
stage and at times as curtain raisers, but now making mainstream, pulling up numbers. We
mm,
see what Nasty C is doing, what Casper Nyovest is doing, and
yeah.
what you also are doing in Malawi. Yes. So
Oh, amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. Yeah.
great, great. And which other artists from Zimbabwe do you listen to? Maybe hip hop artists
Hip hop. It's
or
funny
any
how
other?
it's funny how you know I've been to Zimbabwe several times, and I don't
Yes.
know. It looks like you guys are more into dancehall.
Yeah,
Like I
we're
don't
dancing.
know. Somehow, you know. That's what I noticed. You know. So you know, names top of my head are not coming, but I what I discovered was more on dancehall, on the dancehall side. That's what I discovered. But for hip hop, I'm yet to discover more of Zimbabwean hip hop. I'm yet to discover. So I'm happy now I know you to
Yes.
get me into the Zimbabwean scene.
True,
So I'm
true.
really happy we've met. I'm really happy we've met.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It's
Yeah.
actually an honor, and thanks so much to George for making this interview possible.
Yeah.
I was saying to a couple of friends from other African countries that look, it's quite difficult for us to connect within Africa. We have so
Stana.
many
I've
barriers.
remembered Stana.
What's
I've
Ghana?
remembered Stana.
Yes.
I've remembered Stana. Yeah. And
Yes.
also, sorry, I remember another guy I did a song with. He's I think he's one of your. He's been around for a while. He's based in the UK. His name is what's his name? Based in the UK.
Rhyme Assassin.
No, another one.
Juicer.
He's no. I'm actually checking as well because we did a song. Yeah,
Yes.
just wait. Decibel.
Oh,
Decibel.
Decibel. Oh.
Yes.
Well, I think I heard the song. I think I heard.
Yeah.
But I think I heard
Yeah.
the song. Ah, nice.
I, I did a couple of shows in the UK last year. So
Yes.
while I was there, I met Decibel in the UK.
Ah,
So we
awesome.
got together and we did a song, me and two other artists from Malawi and
Yeah.
him, we did a song together. So yeah.
Ah, great, great. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite great to see how hip hop is growing, how urban music is growing. We see what Bongo Flava is doing in Tanzania. And
Yeah.
in Zimbabwe, last year alone, we had a first of its kind takeover from hip hop.
Yeah.
Best male artist at two of the major national arts awards came from a hip hop artist. His name is T Gons. And one of the most
I've been seeing
popular,
this guy on Twitter.
he's
He's
taking over. The guy is a monster. He's a lyrical monster. He's doing it in vernacular, and he's really changed the perception about hip hop. He's collaborated, I think last year, around 40 different artists that he collaborated with. And he's one of the most sought after artists. So you should definitely look him up. So there is something that's happening and also this connection. So yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Ear Ground. I would want to have a follow-up conversation with you after the collaboration with Mudiwa and also the dropping of your EP. Yes.
Definitely. No, I'll make sure we stay in touch.
Thank you so much. And talking about staying in touch, how can people get in touch with you? How can they follow you? Social media?
Okay. On Facebook, it's easier because my page is verified. So just Phyzix, Phyzix, yes. Phyzix, Phyzix. On Twitter, at PhyzixMW, that's for Malawi. So the same spelling plus an MW at the end. The same one on Instagram at PhyzixMW. On Instagram, I'm on YouTube. Phyzix is the name of my channel. And I'm on TikTok too at Phyzix Malawi. Yeah, so basically, I think on every channel, once you search at Phyzix Malawi with an MW, Phyzix MW, you've got me. So yeah.
Great. And Phyzix with a Z in the middle.
Yes, Phyzix.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Phyzix. Before we go, maybe if we get like a 30-second or 1 minute snippet, just a freestyle or something, and then I'm
okay.
That I'm requesting, can you just get a snippet from him?
Okay, should I do in my language or in
Yeah, maybe in your language. Yeah. Okay, whatever that suits you, yeah.
Okay. Gamba wasuti ndinda kodi banka wachuka ndinda yemwe siku mamutamagisa ndalama ndinda yemwe akufunika kulemera mwachangu ndinda simple manifizo ndi madukulisa mabebi za nchito ndine mfana wachikoka ngati ginito ito tikumabwera toka ito tima bebe chicken tidyedwa ito chinyamata chikukoma ichi ndinasiya kumwera mwa school fees ndalama zindizanga izi.
It's quite interesting because my aunt was married, my uncle was from Malawi, and once you were rapping, it dawned on me that I still understand, the language.
Some of the words.
You're talking about money. You're talking about, that you're the boss and you're running things, right?
Yes. yes. Oh, you got me there. You got.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. It's been
I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. For me, it was not an interview. It was an interaction. It was an experience. And until next time, let's stay in touch.
Blessed. Amazing. Thank you.
Blessed. Thanks a lot to you.
Ear Ground Radio. New voices amplified.